great pleasure to introduce our 2024 Alumni Collection speaker, Richard Sager. Richard graduated from Swarthmore in 1974 with a BA in economics and went on to earn an MBA from Stanford University in 1977. After graduate school, he moved to San Diego, where he became involved with several LGBTQ+ organizations, ultimately chairing the San Diego HIV Funding Collaborative. Richard co-founded the San Diego Human Dignity Foundation, an LGBTQ+ community organization. He was also on the board chair of the Arts, A Reason to Survive, which provides arts-based programs for at-risk youth. Richard has worked as a real estate broker and developer. He's also known as a sculptor and a painter, and his work is shown in the United States and Europe. In 1988, Richard endowed the Sager Fund here at Swarthmore, which has served as a vibrant LGBTQ+ campus resource since its inception. The fund has been Thank you. The fund has been the catalyst for inclusive programming that serves and represents the needs of queer communities on campus. Associate Dean of Inclusive Excellence, Tiffany Thompson, says of the fund, and I quote, "For over 35 years, Swarthmore has had the opportunity to bring speakers and presenters to the college to educate the community and combat homophobia and transphobia. This is all thanks to Richard's commitment to LGBTQ+ inclusive scholarship with the creation of the Sager Fund. It is impossible to truly measure the impact, but each year the recipient's appreciation and gratitude goes beyond monetary value. This fund allows LGBTQ+ students, faculty, staff, and alumni to be seen and celebrated across the institution, and that is priceless," end quote. Richard has volunteered his time to support Swarthmore in all kinds of ways, serving as an alumni interviewer, a mentor, an 1864 Society Committee member, and now a member of his 50th reunion committee. Richard credits Swarthmore with developing in him, quote, "the empathy for different perspectives and the methodology for creative problem solving," end quote. Richard is the ideal person to deliver this year's collection address. His remarks, entitled "Pride, a Call to Action," refer to his philanthropic and volunteer work, and very appropriately falls on the first day of Pride Month. Please join me in welcoming Richard Sager.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Tomoko, and thank you, Ayana. And congratulations to the 3 award recipients who have said everything I was going to say. So I'm done. Just kidding. I'm going to start with the same 3 lines that Ayana started with. Good morning, Swarthmore. And a particularly good morning to my 50th reunion classmates here. I'm truly humbled and, incredibly honored to stand before my Swarthmore family, including fellow alumni, faculty, administration, staff, friends, and guests, in the embrace of this exquisitely beautiful and magical amphitheater. I'm delighted that my partner, Louie, and my sister, Wendy, are also here. It makes me very happy. This stunning spot has always held a special place in my heart. Indeed, whether I'm here alone or for a large gathering, such as this morning's, it's the first place I visit each time I come to campus. It was also my favorite place to read, which means study, during my days here. Whether it's a beautiful spring or fall day, or I'm standing under an umbrella in the rain, this amphitheater always brings me a sense of calm and quiet reflection. Except maybe today. I am not an experienced public speaker. I'm a little bit nervous. I could use other language. That said, here goes. As we gather here once again, united by our common experiences and the threads of cherished memories, I am filled with a tremendous sense of pride. Pride, a word that resonates with profound significance for each one of us. It captures not just our individual achievements, our families, and our communities, but also the essence of what we share, our collective identity as Swarthmoreans and as human beings. Reflecting on our journeys since our days on campus, I am proud of the countless moments of growth and change that have marked our paths. In our time here, we were not merely students, but part of an educational experience that shaped our minds, our hearts, and our spirits. Swarthmore provided us with more than knowledge. It instilled in us a purpose and a commitment to making a difference in the world. From the thrill of intellectual discovery to the camaraderie forged in late-night conversations over pizzas and cheesesteaks, from the challenge of writing a 15-page paper in 3 hours, to the personal and academic triumphs that filled us with joy, each experience has left an enduring imprint on our beings. Speaking of cheesesteaks, the best ones in San Diego, where Louis and I live, are mediocre compared to Apollo, Pinocchio's, and the other late-night fabulous places we called for late-night comfort food delivery. My mouth waters at those memories. A search tells me that unfortunately Morton Pizza, another one of our favorites, is now closed. Rest in peace, Morton Pizza. We must also recognize the diversity of our community and the importance of inclusivity. Swarthmore has always been a place where people from all walks of life come together to learn and grow. I was so fortunate to meet fellow students from all over with such differing backgrounds. This diversity enriches our community and helps define our collective identity. My pride, our pride, goes beyond individual achievements. It extends to the achievements and accomplishments of our community, a community defined by its unwavering commitment to knowledge, justice, and compassion. As Swarthmore alumni, we carry with us the passion for learning and the responsibility to use our education to make this a better world. Speaking of pride, today, as Rob mentioned, marks the beginning of Pride Month. That's what happens when you throw in a line that wasn't in your speech. What a change this represents from when my class arrived in campus in 1970. It was just 1 year after the Stonewall riots, a series of events which began in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969. New York City police raided the Stonewall Inn, a gay club in Greenwich Village. Clashes continued between police and LGBTQ protesters for the next 6 days. These riots served as a catalyst for the gay rights movement in the United States and indeed around the world. I was not fully out as a gay man when I arrived on campus in 1970, either to myself or others, although I had known since the age of 12 that I was probably gay. My coming out did not happen until I finished my MBA, moved to San Diego, and sat down with my parents for a difficult conversation. It took a few months, but they became my greatest supporters. I wish my mom and dad could know that I was invited to speak to you today. They would have been so proud. And I miss them dearly. Now, as a proud member of the LGBTQ+ community, I've learned the importance of visibility, acceptance, and equality. In celebrating LGBTQ+ pride, we affirm our right to love who we love and be who we are without fear or shame. For those of us who are members of this community, and indeed all of us who are members of marginalized communities, and in fact, all of us, our journey towards equality has been marked by struggle and triumph. But through it all, our pride has remained unyielding, inspiring hope and resilience in the face of adversity. I should mention that Swarthmore has made me even prouder through the college's shepherding of LGBTQ+ programs, made part, as Rob mentioned, by the eponymous Sager Fund, which was created to fund all things LGBTQ+. It sponsored, among other things, for over 20 years, the annual Sager Symposium, which has now morphed into the Sager Series. While these programs bear my name, It is through the amazing work of students, staff, faculty, and alumni who have worked hard to make them meaningful that they succeed. I contacted Ken Landis, the then Vice President of Development at Swarthmore, in 1988 for two reasons. First, I had recently been diagnosed with HIV and thought that it was important to have some sort of estate plan in place. I contacted Ken because his name had been on virtually every piece of mail I had received since from Swarthmore since graduation, reminding me incessantly that as a graduate of Swarthmore, I could feel free to send a donation. Ken became a dear friend. Also, I trusted Swarthmore to be a reliable shepherd of my bequest, both in terms of managing the college's endowment and in adhering to the purposes of the fund. Once the documentation was in place, however, I realized that nothing would happen until I was dead and gone, which didn't sound like much fun. So I started funding the newly minted Sager Fund with an annual amount, and Swarthmore has done a wonderful job of managing the fund and the programs it was intended to support. Giving fellow alumni comes with obligation. Besides the obvious requirement that we're intentional in our philanthropy and the need to investigate which entities seem worthy of our resources, including time and money, surprises occur. I cannot with clarity tell you how this happened, but since I've always insisted that the Sager Fund's management and decision-making not include me, I've continued to find myself recruited for other Swarthmore-related tasks. I've been enlisted to be an alumni interviewer, and oh my, Swarthmore applicants are amazing. I don't know that I could get in today. They have taught me about raising farm animals, about working in dental clinics in third world countries, and about so much more. I was able to host an externship with Michaela Schuckman, a young sophomore at the time who stayed me with that week and is now a young lawyer working for Bronx Legal Services. Her parents, Barbara and Salem, both also Swarthmore alumni, are here today, and I'm honored. I became a mentor to a young gay student, and Isaiah Myers-Lipton and I remain friends, speaking regularly. Most recently, I was recruited, I'm not sure how this happened, to serve on the planning committee for my class's 50th reunion. Really, I said no like 10 times, right? Where I've gotten to know a lot about the lives of some of my classmates from those many decades ago. I can state unequivocally that every one of these volunteer tasks has been immensely rewarding and a source of personal pride. And because I'm dealing with Swarthmore applicants, students, faculty, staff, and administration, I learn something from each meeting, interview, or other encounter. I encourage each of you to join me in giving, if you are able, and or volunteering in any capacity for Swarthmore or any nonprofit which may resonate with you. I promise you will be glad you do. You did. Remember, even though we have graduated, we're still Swarthmoreans. And the values we learned here remain an important part of who we are. Beyond our personal experiences, fellow Swarthmoreans, let us also acknowledge the broader societal context in which we live today. Our world is faced with numerous challenges, from climate change to systemic inequality, from political polarization to global pandemics. That's just the beginning. In the face of these challenges, it's easy to be overwhelmed or disheartened. But let us remember that pride is not just a feeling. It is also a call to action. This is an election year, an important election year. This year's election outcomes will likely determine the direction of policies which will affect LGBTQ+ rights, the right of women to bodily autonomy, our commitment to racial equality, healthcare access, perhaps the survival of democracy itself, and a lot more. Our elected officials at the state and federal levels have the power to appoint and confirm judges, from local judgeships to the Supreme Court. These judges will make decisions with far-reaching consequences for LGBTQ+ rights, women's rights, Dobbs anyone? And so much more. The makeup of the courts will influence rulings for decades to come. LGBTQ+ people and people of color and other minorities continue to face disproportionately rates of violence and hate crimes. The policies and priorities of those we elect can and will affect how these crimes are tackled, including how resources are allocated and the support for victims. The election of LGBTQ+ candidates and pro-choice candidates are seen around the world, and as such have an impact globally. We have seen multiple instances in which our policies have global impacts. Uganda comes to mind, where American ultra-right political and religious figures have had a horrendous, deliberate, and outsized impact on the recent passage of legislation, which legislates discrimination and in some cases death for LGBTQ+ people. I know that Swarthmoreans are highly motivated to vote, but if you have any doubt about voting, please be sure that you do. Today, as we come together to celebrate our pride, let us also reflect on the values that have guided us throughout our journey. Let us affirm our commitment to truth, to equality, and to social justice. I invite you to join me in a rededication of the pursuit of a more just and equitable world. As Swarthmoreans, we have been blessed with a world-class education and a deep sense of purpose. Let us carry forward the flame of pride that burns within every one of us, a flame that lights the way towards a better tomorrow. Let us draw strength from our shared heritage and our common bonds, and let us continue to strive for excellence in all that we do. For it is in our collective pride that we find the courage to confront the challenges of our time and the conviction to create a more compassionate world. In closing, I thank you for the privilege of standing amongst you today. May our pride continue to inspire and guide us as we embark together on the next chapters of our journeys. To my 50th reunion class, I'm especially honored to have been asked to give this collection address. I also feel a little bit like a fraud. I got this letter and I said, why me? But I am beyond honored. I am heartbroken that some of our classmates no longer alive and others are not able to travel here. I was, as it has been mentioned, saddened to learn that our classmate and legal luminary, Chris Edley, just passed away. Our upcoming class remembrance will be sad, but important. We will remember Chris and all the classmates we've lost this afternoon. These are women and men who were an important part of our journey. I told our reunion organizing class I wanted this to be the best 50th reunion in the college's history. Not that you've been to them all. I hope you all agree it is, and that you enjoy the entire weekend. Also for my class, I've been asked to remind you that we will have a class photo after. Please don't leave and come up, okay? Thank you all. Enjoy the weekend, and I look forward to seeing you around campus.